Welcome to AI TV, broadcasting live from AI Expo Africa 2020 online. This is our virtual media center, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome Mutembei from Fastagger in Kenya. Welcome, Mutembei, to AI TV. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Nick. It's an honor. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, AI Expo Africa 2020 has been so far fantastic, amazing shows and talks, showcases from different companies. It's one of the biggest examples of digital transformation and resilience on the continent, and how AI is actually going to transform the continent.
Yeah, thanks. Well, look, kind of forced into it, like we all have this year. I mean, I think the online technology platforms now for events give you everything in one bag, and we spend about a month researching and looking at what this platform can do. Now, the reason why we chose this one just to talk with an African perspective was that the two-day business event is then archived, and it runs as a 30-day show. Now, that archive show is something we want to push young people, young engineers, young entrepreneurs, learners across the continent. Now, we can't do that in a face-to-face event that we've traditionally run. So really, you know, there is a positive upside to going on to the online platform. And really, with people like you who've made a contribution and you've spoken and other sponsors as well, this archive will serve as a learning platform to show young people and others, you know, what's going on in industry, and for them to hear talks that they wouldn't normally necessarily hear if they couldn't reach a normal conference or a fly to a conference. So yeah, we've taken the conference to them, and we're really looking forward to sharing that news. So look, AI TV is not about me and our event, it's actually about you. So tell us a little bit about Fastagger and what you do, because essentially, you know, without labeled data, we don't really have accurate AI, and I think that's what your company's about. So tell us a little bit about Fastagger.
Yes, thank you. So as you're saying, you know, we recognize the challenge that, you know, without properly labeled data, then, you know, you can't have AI, and we particularly saw this for the African continent, right? So, you know, one of the interesting things is, like, even if you look at content on the internet generally, if you're trying to, you know, crawl some data from the internet to maybe build your models, you know, you can't find that much about Africa. And so we looked at, you know, the saying that, you know, if data is the new oil, then, you know, labeled data is the new diamonds, right? And we really looked at, you know, how can AI be able to impact the continent in the future? And it all starts with creating labeled data sets. And so particularly we have focused on creating labeled data set, training data sets for the African country for different verticals. So, you know, we are particularly hopeful in the areas of healthcare, agriculture, infrastructure, and also voice, right? So one of our key focuses is how can we create these labeled data sets, and then, you know, in a sense, become the AWS of AI APIs on the continent in the future, and, you know, enable different stakeholders to, you know, just call APIs either for the data or for, you know, actually, you know, algorithms that we develop. And we also particularly focused on the opportunity that the data labeling market presents for young people, unemployed young people in the continent. So we say one of the things we're doing is connecting, you know, the, you know, millions of unemployed young people in the continent to vast markets of data labeling. You know, it's projected to reach about about $4 billion by 2023. Just the global data labeling market. And we feel that if we get young people involved from the part of doing the data labeling and upskill them as they go, then they're the ones who will actually be able to implement the technology on the African continent as well. So in a sense, we are working with the young people to label the data for Africa and then eventually build the solutions for Africa as well.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's a great model. I mean, I was talking to Fred Werner at the ITU yesterday in Geneva, and we were just talking about standards, and you know, he said, like, we're really at the beginning, and you know, I think this labeling of data, the industry that's obviously started around it, you know, to have a local African Kenyan-based company doing it. It's fantastic. I mean, it's a local entrepreneur-led endeavor, and it's being run by local people. What how big is the company at the moment?
So we're about 11 months old right now.
Okay.
We're 3 co-founders, and we've been very fortunate to have a lot of experiences on the continent and outside the continent. I have 2 co-founders. Our CTO, also born in Kenya, grew up here, then got an opportunity to do his master's at the MIT Media Lab, and now currently finishing his PhD at Georgia Tech, also focused on environmental sensing, machine learning. So, there's him up. We've worked on a previous data startup back in 2016. And then I have my other co-founder, COO. She's also Kenyan, grew up here, did actuarial science here, then did management consulting, worked with one of the fast data companies here, called Mathri Root as a data manager, then worked in consulting in Kenya and India, and then moved to Spain to do her master's in data and analytics at IE Business School. And then I myself, have had a really good opportunity to, work here in Kenya, then in Europe, Japan, where I did my master's in information systems, really focusing on IoT, AI, and did some programs also with MIT, and came back to Kenya, worked with the German Development Corporation on supporting tech startups on the continent here in Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, and really saw the opportunities. And so when we came together, we're like, okay, what do we see is the biggest opportunity? And we saw that AI, and a lot of us had been working in the field of data, and we saw this is what's going to transform the continent, create the jobs and create the solutions. And so there's the 3 of us, and then we also have partnerships also with the Kenya government, a platform called Ajira, which was started in 2016 by the Ministry of ICT. And so we have about 70 young people from that government platform, as well as 30 of our own. So in total, about 100 young people who have been doing the labeling with us, all virtual. And we've been able to perform over 200,000 tasks in the last few months for clients. And on average, the highest paid labeler has been able to make about $250 in a month. And we see that as creating opportunities. And we've also participated within Airbus BizLab.
I've heard about that.
Worked on, and it was amazing. Last year we were this year we were the only Kenyan startup there, and so that was amazing. And we met a lot of startups from Morocco, from South Africa, from everyone, learned a lot through that process. And in particular, we really focused on working on satellite data and its use cases, creating machine learning models for agriculture and for infrastructure challenges. Fantastic. And one of the things we now focused on was using creating an AI API that can be used for solar panel and rooftop detection by companies in the solar industry, so that to increase the access. You've just talked about the power cuts that happened yesterday, and
they're happening today as well.
We have 600. Exactly, we have there's 600 million people on the continent who just don't have access, and solar is one of the things that can create opportunities. And these companies, currently they are manually looking at rooftops on satellite imagery, and an automated process would really help them. And we found like a potential client who was saying, yeah, we would love this solution. So we started working on that. So we see a lot of opportunities.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, just to wrap up, Mutembei, what's the future for Fastagger, and how can someone who's interested in labeling data and talking to you about a project, how can they find you, and what does the future look like for your company and where you're heading? Yeah.
So the future is extremely bright. We see ourselves as becoming, as I mentioned before, the AWS of AI APIs on the continent in different verticals, whether it's healthcare, agriculture, infrastructure, voice. We see a future where we have the data sets and the models for different use cases on the continent and giving access. If anybody wants to reach out to us already, for the labeling of their own data, our website is there at www.fastagger.com. I have the session that I did yesterday. It's on the AI Expo Africa 2020 platform. If someone just looks for my name, Mutembei Kariuki, and Fastagger, and they'll find it. And
Sure.
our contact information is there. And we really look forward to continuing collaboration with AI Expo Africa. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for everybody to learn about what's happening on the continent in terms of AI and digital transformation.
Well, Mutembei, many thanks for joining us today on AI TV. Obviously, the circumstances are radically different to what we're used to. But again, thank you for your contribution. Thanks for joining us on the show today. And if anybody wants to look at a data labeling and talk to the team from Fastagger, it's fastagger.com. And yeah, connect up and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you very much, Nick, and congratulations to you and your team. You're doing a fantastic job, and I hope we get to meet in person one day after this Corona goes down.
Yeah, I want to have a holiday in Kenya. I'll see you there. We'll have a drink.
You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. Thank you so much, Nick.
Thanks a lot.
Have a great day.